Okay, so something a little different this week. I just want to address why my UK Open footage wasn't up for my Wednesday deadline as it should have been, and there had to be just the highlights put up, and why everyone had to wait an extra week to see all the action. This is down to a complete and utter failing of the RAC, and I just want to kind of go over what happened and my experience with the RAC and how I was failed by 7 people in one day, which is pretty tragic for a company that big to have 7 people in one day totally fail you. So here's what happened. I had to write it down because there was so much fail. So on the way back from the UK Open, my wheel bearing on my car went, and I've made it from Devon to Somerset. I pulled over in the middle of nowhere and called the RAC out. They sent a local guy out, looked at my car, checked the wheels, said don't drive it, you need a tow. No problem. Phoned up the RAC, told them exactly where I was. I had to borrow a landline. I was so in the middle of nowhere, my mobile phone didn't even work. Had to borrow a landline, gave them the landline number, told them exactly where I was and said I need recovering, come and pick me up. So they said fine, no problem, 2 hours or so, someone will be there. So in 2 hours I called them back, just an ETA, no huge rush, to see what happens. So the first person who was supposed to arrange the recovery, obviously they totally failed. So then the second person I spoke to thought that I wanted to go home on Tuesday. This was Sunday. So no, I had to tell them I wanted to go home 2 hours ago, not in 2 days' time. So they said they would arrange a pickup truck to come and pick me up and take me home. So I waited. And I waited about another couple of hours for this truck to arrive, and of course it didn't arrive. So I phoned up the RAC and I spoke to person number 3. Person number 3 thought I was already at home, and miraculously somehow my car had been repaired and I'd been teleported home and everything was absolutely fine. But of course this wasn't the case. I was still broken down, I was still with my car, I was still in the middle of nowhere, and this is hours and hours later at this point. So he said, don't worry, we'll arrange a truck to come and pick you up. Yeah. So I waited, and it's getting on towards night time at this point, and yeah, a couple of hours-ish later, no one comes to pick me up. So I call up for an ETA. This is person 4. Person 4 just laughed and said someone will call you. After I've been waiting somewhere 6-7 hours, someone who I called for help actually laughed and just said someone will call you. They didn't care at all. So I waited a little bit longer, and I called person number 5. At this point it's maybe 11 o'clock at night, something like that, and I explained to person 5 that I've been waiting a long time and no one had come to pick me up. I hadn't even had a phone call, an ETA, nothing. So person 5 finally realised that something had gone wrong, and they said they themselves or their supervisor, person 6, would sort this out. So I'm like, finally, someone realises I've been just stranded, forgotten about, left at the side of the road, just waiting. So yeah, great. Person 5 or their supervisor, person 6, no worries, we'll sort this out, give you a call back in 10 minutes or so, we'll look after you, don't worry. So I waited. And yeah, I kind of fell asleep next to the car. Had the phone on me though, right next to me, and no one called me. So about an hour later I called up again, and this is person 7. So person 7, I hope some of these people get fired. Person 7, after I told them what had happened, how many people have failed me, how I was still sat next to my car waiting to be picked up, they hung up on me. This is how much the RAC actually cares about its customers. Person 7 just didn't want to deal with all the crap from these 6 other people, just hung up the phone. So I had to call back again. Person 8. Person 8 said, "Are you still broken down at the side of the motorway?" No, I'd never broken down at the side of a motorway, not in this car. I had been stranded and left by the RAC previously in this car, but yeah, so this is 1:30 in the morning. Okay, 1:30 in the morning. I'm just sleeping on the floor at this point. I'm absolutely knackered. I've had a really long weekend, and so I tell person 8 everything that's happened, and they realise they've really screwed up. This is 1:30 in the morning, so person 8 tells me we don't send out trucks to recover people at 1:30 in the morning, and the best they could do is send someone out, dispatch them at 8. I might get picked up at 9, which is no good. So then they offered to put me up in a hotel, which was nice, but I'm in the middle of nowhere. They're going to have to find a hotel. They're going to have to call a taxi from a town somewhere to get out and pick me up. I've got all my gear in the car. I've got all my footage, all my cameras, my skateboards, everything. At this point, I've had enough. So I just slept on the floor, had my camping gear with me, blow-up mat, sleeping bag, and I just said I'm going to stay next to my car until someone finally comes to pick me up. And at about 9:30 the next day, finally someone comes to pick me up. 16 hours. I was left stranded for 16 hours, and I was failed by 7 people in one day at the RAC. Absolute joke. So I did obviously complain to the RAC, told them everything that had happened, told them 7 people that had failed me in a day, and they said, yep, we'll get back to you with a solution, we'll offer you something, compensation, whatever. Obviously they haven't at all. So I emailed them with my reference number and said, look, what's happening, all these people have failed me, I've complained, you said you're going to get back to me, and this was 2 weeks ago again. Of course, being the RAC failure that they are, still no one's contacted me. So I don't know, maybe this video will reach the RAC, maybe someone will realise what a complete mess their organisation is. I must say, the driver that came to pick me up when I eventually was recovered was excellent. No problem with him at all, not his fault I was stranded. The tow truck driver was fantastic. Yeah, so I guess to conclude, is it just me? I mean, I've been stranded twice by the RAC now in a year. I'd love to hear your experiences, your thoughts, drop them in the comments below. I'm obviously going to switch over to the AA. Any experiences, advice, horror stories would be really good before I sign up with them. Hopefully they're really good. Yeah, thanks for watching, and I shall see you next week.